Grab your credit card statement right now and look at the minimum payment. If your balance is $6,000, that $185 you pay every month isn't clearing your debt. It's a 25-year financial trap designed to cost you exactly $112,000. For every single dollar you borrowed, they are forcing you to pay back 18. And you signed up for it. In this video, I'll show you the true cost calculation your bank hides. But more importantly, I'm going to hand you the exact Avalanche system and a 5-minute phone script that will collapse that 25-year sentence into just 15 months. Let's break their algorithm. You open your statement. Balance, $6,000. Minimum payment due, $185. You pay it, you move on. You're being responsible. Here's what's happening inside that payment. Here is what happens the exact second you hit pay $185. Look at the breakdown. The bank immediately slices off $125 and keeps it as pure profit. That is your interest charge. Only $60 actually touches your $6,000 debt. Month after month, year after year. They engineered the math so you barely scratch the principal. If you stick to their $185 minimum, you are chained to this exact transaction for 25 years. When the clock finally stops, you haven't paid $6,000. You've handed them $112,000. $112,000 on a $6,000 debt. For every dollar you borrowed, you paid back 18. Here's the question worth sitting with. Why did your bank set your minimum payment at exactly $185? Not $300, not $150, $185. Because $185 is the number their financial modeling identified as optimal. Maximum interest revenue extracted over the longest possible time period, while keeping the payment small enough that you pay it each month without questioning it. That number was not calculated by people trying to help you escape. It was calculated by people whose job was to keep the hole in that bucket flowing for as long as mathematically possible. Think about what your account looks like from their side of the table. When you carry a $6,000 balance at 25% APR, they collect roughly $1,500 in pure interest revenue in year one alone. Not revenue from a product or service, revenue that accumulates automatically because your balance exists and the clock runs. Every month your balance stays above zero, that revenue continues. The minimum payment is calibrated so your balance stays above zero for as long as possible. That's not an unfortunate side effect. That's the designed outcome. Run the math on your age. At 25, minimum payments on a $6,000 debt clear it when you're approaching 50. Your bank calculated that timeline before you signed the agreement. You didn't. This isn't a conspiracy theory. The math is disclosed in the fine print of every credit card agreement in the country. The problem is that the minimum payment looks, from the outside, exactly like responsible behavior. Your account is current. Your credit score is intact. You paid the bill. The damage runs silently, in the interest calculation buried in the smallest font on your statement, next to language you have no reason to translate into a 25-year projection. So here's your first move. Take your current balance, multiply it by your annual interest rate, divide by 12. That number is your monthly interest cost, and not a dollar of it reduces what you owe. Every payment dollar above that number makes real progress. Every dollar at or below it means your balance is standing still. Write that number down before your next payment, because once you see it clearly, the minimum payment stops looking like responsible behavior and starts looking like exactly what it is. And once you see it for what it is, a second question follows naturally. Is there any way to reduce that interest cost right now? Without extra income, without a windfall, without waiting? There is. And your bank has never sent you a single notification about it. Your interest rate is negotiable.
Banks have a hidden internal team. They call it the retention department. Their single, absolute goal is to stop you from leaving. Your standard customer service rep can't help you. But this specific team, they have a button on their keyboard that instantly lowers your interest rate. But here is the trap. They are strictly forbidden from pressing it, or even telling you it exists, unless you speak a very specific phrase. More than 50% of the people who say these exact words get their rate cut instantly. Not because the bank is generous, because their algorithm calculates that lowering your rate is cheaper than losing you forever. And the reason they never call? Think about what that bank earns the moment you don't. Every year your rate stays at 25%, the math runs automatically. No product to deliver, no service to render. That information asymmetry is not accidental. Banks benefit when you don't know this conversation is possible. Here's the script. Call the number on the back of your card. Ask for the retention department. When connected, say, "I've been a customer for X years, and I'd like to request a lower interest rate on my account." No hardball negotiation, no cancellation threats. A direct request from a customer who has been paying their bill. If they approve it, confirm the new rate before you hang up and ask when it takes effect. If they decline, ask what would need to change for a reduction to be possible, note the answer, and call back in 90 days. 5 minutes. The upside is thousands of dollars in eliminated interest. On a 25% rate, even a 5-point reduction on a $6,000 balance saves hundreds in the first year alone. The downside is the word no, which costs you exactly nothing. But here's what you need to understand about that rate reduction. It is a multiplier on your payoff effort, not a solution by itself. Because even at a lower rate, if you're directing your payments in the wrong order, you're still leaving enormous amounts of money on the table. The sequence in which you attack your debts determines your total interest cost as much as the rates themselves. And most people have never thought carefully about the sequence. There's a right order to eliminate debt. Almost no one uses it. When most people decide to seriously attack debt, they do one of two things. They make extra payments whenever spare money appears, 100 here, 200 after a good month, without a system for where those dollars go. Or they follow the debt snowball, pay off the smallest balance first for the psychological satisfaction of closing an account, then move to the next one. Both feel like progress, neither is mathematically optimal. And on a 25% rate, the distance between optimal and almost optimal is measured in years. The debt avalanche targets your highest interest rate first, always. Different debts damage your finances at different rates per month. A credit card at 25% is costing you far more per dollar per month than a student loan at 6% or a car payment at 7%. To stop the total bleeding as fast as possible, you direct your extra payments at the debt doing the most damage first. Here's the return calculation that makes this straightforward. Every extra dollar you put toward a 25% interest balance eliminates 25 cents of guaranteed annual interest cost. That's a 25% guaranteed return on that dollar, real, immediate, and available on a debt you already carry. Not a projection from a fund manager. Guaranteed, this month, by eliminating interest you would otherwise owe. No savings account, no index fund. No investment product your bank's advisor will pitch in a meeting comes close to that number. Here's what this looks like with your numbers. $6,000 at 25% interest, $300 per month using the debt avalanche, balance gone in 18 months, total interest under $1,200. Even $100 per month, out in under 4 years, under $2,800 in total interest. Compare either of those to $112,000 over 25 years on the minimum payment path. Same debt, same person. The entire difference is a decision about where to direct your extra dollars each month. One option costs $112,000.
The other costs $1,200. Or $2,800 if $100 is what you can manage. Your bank designed its minimum payment system so you would default to the first option, month after month, without ever encountering the second.
Now stack all three moves. You calculate your real monthly interest cost and understand what you're actually paying. You call and negotiate your rate from 25% to 20%. And you deploy $300 per month using the debt Avalanche. The 25-year, $112,000 obligation collapses to under 15 months for well under $1,000 in total interest. That's not a small optimization. That's $110,000 redirected from your bank's revenue into your life.
Implementation is 3 steps. List every debt you carry. Every credit card, every loan, every line of credit. For each, write down the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum monthly payment. Rank the list from highest interest rate to lowest. From this point forward, pay the minimum on every debt except the one at the top. Every extra dollar, every dollar beyond the minimums, goes to that top balance only. When that balance reaches 0, take everything you were paying on it, the minimum plus every extra dollar, and redirect the full amount to the next debt on the list. Your total monthly payment stays constant. The momentum accelerates. Each balance you eliminate removes one more drain from your cash flow and concentrates more firepower on the next target. Track your target payoff date. Put it on a calendar. Check the balance monthly. Because the moment this becomes a real number declining toward a real date, your relationship with this debt changes fundamentally. You're not servicing a balance that will follow you for 25 years. You're dismantling a revenue stream your bank spent considerable effort engineering to last a lifetime. Watch it shrink.
What you just learned isn't financial advice. It's the user manual for a product your bank sold you without the manual. You have it now. The moment that balance hits 0, a new question opens immediately. What do you build next? Emergency fund first? Start investing? The sequence matters more than most people realize, and getting the order wrong delays financial independence by years. That's the next video. It's on screen now. If this is the kind of content you want, the actual mechanics behind the financial system, explained the way your bank never will, subscribe. One of these every week. What's your current APR? Drop it in the comments. A lot of people have never actually looked it up. The number might surprise you.